Welcome to the Iron Mind Podcast. Join me, Josh Brumley, as we explore the minds of those who forged their paths through legal battles, business triumphs, and creative conquests. In each episode, we sit down with inspiring individuals who sharpened their resolve in the fires of entrepreneurship and law. From lawyers breaking barriers to entrepreneurs overcoming obstacles, we uncover the stories behind their iron wills and innovative minds. Get ready for thought-provoking conversations, practical insights, and actionable advice. This is the Iron Mind Podcast. Step into the corridors of UW Tacoma, and you'll find a familiar face, that of Altaf Merchant. Stay tuned for captivating insights, thought-provoking discussions, and a journey through the corridors of marketing academia. Welcome to the show, Altaf.
Thank you very much, Josh. It's an absolute delight to be here, and it's always a pleasure to catch up with colleagues and alums and my former students.
How has your background as a marketing manager and brand manager influenced your approach to academia?
Yeah, Josh, it's impacted my entire worldview and whatever I stand for. So to start, it has inspired my research. A lot of my research is based on my experiences and things which excited me and confused me as a brand manager. So that inspired my research. It, of course, inspired my teaching. I have tried to integrate theory and practice in my classes and looked at examples from my own experiences. And mostly, I think I lean a lot on my corporate experiences in my current role as dean. I feel like I'm a bridge between the business community and my students. Now, as the dean, I see my role as completely focused on everything that's students. It's all about students. Whatever I do, whatever we do as an institution, it's all to support students. We have to constantly reinvent ourselves. We cannot live on past laurels. Just as in marketing, we know that what you did well last year doesn't mean it's going to have the same results this year. So we need to keep updating our curriculum, keep doing things so that our students remain contemporary in the workforce. And, the other thing is really telling our story. I think telling our story and positioning is very important. And I think I work hard to make sure we tell the story of UW Tacoma, the business school, and our students. And lastly, my corporate experience has made me pro-business, a pro-industry. I'm pro-capitalist, but I'm also a conscious capitalist.
Important.
So, yes. So all this has actually shaped my entire worldview and how I see my role in the school.
Can you talk more about the school and keeping the curriculum and the teachers, the professors, and the students focused on contemporary marketing strategies?
Absolutely. I would take your question and expand it a bit more.
Sure.
I would talk about keeping our professors contemporary and keeping our curriculum contemporary. I think those are the two big dimensions. So when I became dean, one of the biggest priorities for me in the first 3 years, so I'm completing 5 years. So the first 3 years was to make our curriculum world-class, not just contemporary, world-class. So we looked very hard at our programs, and we identified certain areas where we need to brush up. The first area we identified was our undergraduate curriculum, and within that, accounting, because accounting is our biggest major. And we said that the state of accounting has changed. There's a lot of AI, SAP, and a lot of other things going on. And so we revamped our entire accounting program, and we revamped our Master of Accounting program, and we called it Master of Science in Accounting. It's now a STEM designated program, the only one of its kind in the UW system.
Wow.
And I'm really proud of it because, it's attracting students from all over the world. And this has resulted in jobs for our students. Till 5-6 years ago, students used to get good jobs, but in local companies. Now we have the big fives. We have KPMG, PwC, Deloitte, all competing for our students, right? And I'm delighted to hear when students say, oh, I have to choose this job between Google, which pays me 120, in PwC, which pays me 110. What should I do? That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the first. The second area of we really wanted to upgrade our curriculum was finance. Now, if you see globally, finance is a very important curriculum for a business school. The goal of finance curriculum is to really teach our students to participate in investment, in portfolio management, in the stock market, in everything finance, right? Could be banking, could be finance, investment banking, could be anything. And we found that our curriculum needed to be upgraded. So what we did was we integrated Bloomberg into 7 out of the 12 classes in finance that we have. Now,
Yeah, you showed me those terminals when I came and toured the
right.
school. It was
We have
very
8
cool.
of them now.
8, wow.
Right? I mean, and each of them is, as you may know, is $25,000 a year, which we are able to buy with the support of donors. And so now each of our finance students has to undergo 7 classes involving Bloomberg. And again, we are the only campus which has that. I'm proud to say, where students are, it's a way of life for them. So when they join, for example, if there's a student who joins Morgan Stanley, he'll hit the ground running, or she'll hit the ground running.
Right.
Again, in finance, this results in jobs, because earlier our students used to get jobs in non-profits and the government, which are all good jobs. But now they're getting interest from Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, right? And the big names.
Right.
And again, my dream is to have our students work in New York on Wall Street, and I don't see why not.
Right.
The other interesting thing we are doing is linked to the finance curriculum is teaching students the essence of finance, the practicality of finance and investment is great, but it's also important for them to play with real money. And again, you must see this, Josh, in the background, and you know that you're a product of Milgard School. Our students are first generation, 60% of them, they are students of color, people who have not the traditional students, students who've not grown up with too much money. And so we need to educate them to take risks, right? Take risks which are reasonable risks, not crazy risks, but reasonable risks, right?
Not put it all on black, but a well thought out risk.
Right. Calculated risks. So we are starting a student managed investment fund. Again, the first in the UW system, where we have donors who've donated money for us, about $150,000 already, and we're still in the fundraising stage. I think about $200,000 is what we should raise. And we are going to be asking students to help us invest it.
Wow.
And so every year there'll be students who'll be telling us how to invest. We'll be holding on to it for a year and then encashing it. And again, keeping that money and then reinvesting it. So some of the fun things we're doing. And of course, we've revamped our MBA curriculum and revamped some other class. There's a lot going on, right? So yes, to answer your question, we've only got started. I want to launch a global supply chain management program. We want to launch our business analytics program to different tracks, AI track, right? Now, talking about AI, we have an AI lab, which is all students who go through the intro to IT class in the business school use AI, and they have to do a project using AI. And we have a lab for that where students can access it. So we are trying our best, trying to provide students with the latest knowledge so that when they join the workforce, they are a desirable product.
What you spoke about the AI lab and how all these students who take Introduction to IT, is that the
That's
class? So Introduction to IT, they get to they have to take this class as part of their program, and then they get to use this AI lab. What are some of the ways that AI can be used for marketing?
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. So I'll give you an example. Okay, so I was traveling to Vietnam, and I had a meeting with the American Chambers of Commerce in Vietnam, and we were talking about executive education. So I asked AI to develop an ad for me. Right. Now, it's very interesting to see that the platform of AI, and there are many, many platforms, they can do a lot of the base brunt work for you.
Right.
It's the nuances and the finishing which is really required, which needs to be added on. So, going back to my marketing experience, very nice to work with creative teams. The most difficult thing was to get the ball rolling. Right. You have the strategy in mind. You have in your mind what you want to accomplish, but how does the creative process work and what does it mean? And getting the ball rolling was very tough. So what AI does, and in my own experience, right, is use AI to get some initial work, and then of course the human effect has to be put to add to the nuances and the to make sure it's on strategy.
Sure.
So the big conversation that's there in academia now is AI going to take jobs, right? I think a similar conversation happened many years ago when we had when typewriters were replaced by computers.
Yeah.
Right? And we said, oh, you're going to lose a lot of jobs. Yes, you're going to lose jobs, but there are going to be more jobs being created, right? The different kinds of jobs. And we have to make our students ready for it, right?
Mm-hmm. So the school has this very forward-thinking approach to leveraging technology in all of these different business subcategories, all these business majors, and that's groundbreaking as far as the university system goes. This is something that not all universities are doing.
Well, I wouldn't say not all universities. Several universities are doing.
Okay.
Right? But I'd say within the UW system, within Washington, we are doing something pretty unique.
And so people who don't focus either their own independent learning on these industries with AI in mind, or go to a college that maybe doesn't have that infrastructure in place, do you think they're going to be at a disadvantage in the market?
This is what I'd say. Our students would be at an advantage.
So
right?
People should go to UW Tacoma, is what you're saying.
To the Milgard School.
Yes, the Milgard School of Business in Tacoma. What are some key insights entrepreneurs can glean from your experience launching international products and campaigns for brands like Lysol, Aquafresh, and CeraVe? Big name brands.
Yeah. My experience in marketing as a brand manager and then as a professor is, people do not buy products and services. They buy solutions to problems, right? So I would say the first thing for entrepreneurs is think very hard about what problem are you trying to solve, right? Sometimes you may have a great idea, but what exactly is the problem you're solving? How are you making the life of your consumer better or your customer better? What unarticulated, unserved needs are you fulfilling, right? Like Uber, right? Uber is a classic example. It's
Sure.
an unarticulated. We didn't even know that we needed Uber, right? But
Now we
obviously
can't.
did. Now we can't live without it.
We can't live without it. And now Uber Eats as well.
Uber
We
Eats
didn't
as well.
realize.
Right.
And now I never have to leave my home.
Right. So again, that's great. But I also appreciate that not everyone can be Uber, right? And at the Milgard School, we have an entrepreneurship program. It's a certificate program, Entrepreneurship Academy, and it's geared towards big ideas and small. I mean, for me, I am very conscious of Tacoma and what our student base is and what our community needs and what our economy needs. We need to create jobs, and entrepreneurship can create good jobs for the entrepreneur and for others. So even if it is something like you want to sell a cookie, so how is your cookie better than the others? If you want to run a law firm, how is your law firm better than another law?
Let me tell you all the ways.
So it's all about, if you cannot make a new mousetrap, how do you make a better mousetrap, right? The other thing I tell very often is it's okay to fail. Right? He who has not tried anything will never fail, but will never succeed either. So be brave, try new ideas, fail fast, pivot, be tenacious. So one of the facts which, people who have ideas to be an entrepreneur is that they want to launch their product and be successful immediately. It's hard being an entrepreneur. It's a mindset. You need to have fire, a passion. You need to have within you an ignition which keeps driving your engine, right? So I think tenacity is very important. Be at it. If you're at it and you're failing, doesn't mean you keep failing.
Right.
But pivot and do something else. And if you find that you're not making good progress, move somewhere else to get into something different. The other problem that happens to entrepreneurs is also success. And success can be problematic as well. I think, and that's where financial literacy becomes very important.
Right.
To know the difference between cost and revenue and profit and cash.
Yeah.
Right? You may be very profitable in books, but you may not have enough cash. And your working capital itself can kill you, the lack of it, right? So again, at the Milgard School, we provide this kind of education to our students in entrepreneurship and otherwise. We provide financial literacy classes and workshops and seminars and games to students across the campus, right? And that's important because personal finances is no one teaches it.
No one.
It's the biggest gap in our population, and no one. High school we don't do that good a job. College certainly doesn't teach you.
No.
And those who are lucky enough to have parents who can teach, that's great. But I'm a parent. I've not taught my child that this is the way you balance your checkbook.
Yeah.
So someone has to teach it. And so going back again to entrepreneurship, I think financial literacy is another big thing. And that, I think the business school or the university can play a big role in that.
So that's something that you want to focus on building out more, or you think that currently the Milgard School does a great job developing in the students who have that entrepreneur skill set, but maybe don't have the background of the fundamentals?
Yeah. So, Josh, last year was the very first year we offered financial literacy program. We offered about 20 workshops, seminars, things like how do you buy a car, how to buy a house, how do you get a credit card, how do you use a credit, how do you save money. And this year, we've taken that one step further where we are having free classes for our students across the campus. You may be a finance student, a history student, an economics student, or an English student, or an engineer. How to make money in a stock exchange. So we have someone from Edward Jones who comes and teaches that.
Wow.
And so we had a beginning course, 4 seminars. This quarter we have an advanced course, another 4 seminars. And each of those classes is full every time.
Yeah.
We have a capacity of 50 students and it's full. And so we're doing a lot of things because I think we can do it. That's why we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I believe in the rising tide lifts all boats.
Sure.
So if we can help, why not?
I speaking as an alumni from the Milgard School of Business, some of the most important skills that I learned that I use every day in running this law firm weren't skills that were inherently in me. They were acquired. And so as you spoke about, entrepreneurship's not for everyone. You have to have this fire. From a young age, that fire was in me, but I did not have the benefit of a family member or someone to guide that to be responsible use of that. And so as I failed starting other businesses and succeeded partially starting other businesses, I learned and I pivoted and Milgard helped a ton with that. And I had no clue that I would land as a lawyer, years later. I just knew that I needed to learn how to run a business, and what that business was could be selling chairs for all I knew. I just knew I needed to learn these things and invest in myself, and it's paid dividends because the financial literacy, the accounting understanding, the acumen that comes with running a business, you have to understand so many different parts of what makes a business healthy to run a healthy business.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that. Very important.
Yeah, no, I'm so super proud of you, Josh. It's when we reconnected and I heard about your story and I said, wow, you're a poster example of the Milgard School.
Well, I hope to help guide the next generation of Milgard students at some point. As an immigrant entrepreneur yourself, how do you navigate the challenges and opportunities in the American business landscape, and how do those differ from Mumbai?
Yeah. So you see, Josh, the core of business is universal, right? I mean, the fundamental of business, whether you're in the US or India or Vietnam or Japan or China, wherever you are, it's all about adding value to your customers on one hand and to your stakeholders. Now, mark me, I'm not saying stockholders. Yes,
right.
Stockholders, but also beyond stockholders, your stakeholders. That's the core of business.
Right.
But the application and nuances are different. Now, let me give you an example of my role as innovation manager for Lysol. So I was launching new products for Lysol around Asia, which the goal of which really was to reduce infections at home, right? For people, for toilet cleaners and wipes and all that. But the goal is to reduce infections at home. And we were using different innovative molecules. We were using sensorials for the customer. That was the goal. Now, if I cut to my time now as dean, my goal is really to enrich the lives of our students, right? To prepare them for great world-class jobs, and to serve the industry by having a top-notch workforce, right? So it's a value which students get. It's a value which the industry gets, right? The businesses get. And I'm humbled. It's really, whenever I come to work, I'm humbled because it's an honor to be in this position where we are able to make this difference to students' lives. And someone who would have earned, let's say, $40,000 after graduating versus someone who after graduating from us earns 100,000, 110,000 because of the value we are adding with all that you're doing new, is not only changing their own life, it's changing the lives of their families, maybe their parents, their spouse, their children. Children will be able to dream bigger dreams, better dreams, right? So I'm humbled at times to think about that. I have been given that honor to make that difference. I believe a lot. Again, this is not, I am the dean, but it's a team. It's a team of our faculty, our staff. I believe in empowering my teams. I believe in compassion. I think that's very important to me. And for me, being an academic is a calling. It's a higher level. In different ways, Josh. With my corporate, I could have been, in a corporate sector, been a country manager, general manager, CEO. I don't know what, right?
Sure.
I could have gone in that direction. I chose this trajectory because of, as I said, the honor I have of serving my students.
There's a huge community impact that the Milgard School of Business has on Tacoma, and it's got a wonderful reputation. And the students that go there, everyone I've ever met is very successful afterward. Do you think college is for everyone? Do you think everyone should try college once? Do you think that some students have an innate reason that they wouldn't be successful with college? How do you feel about everyone should attend college, that statement?
So that's a very good question. I think now that multiple layers to your question. Your first question is, can everyone benefit from college? The answer to that is yes. Yes, everyone can benefit from college. I would say everyone can benefit from education. So I think it's not more about college or university, is do people need an education? The answer to that is yes, you need education. Whether it's trade school or whether it's university, whether it's community college, that's a different decision. But education definitely helps and expands the mindset. And I've seen that in different countries as well, Josh. I was recently traveling with the governor to Vietnam as a part of his trade mission. And there were 45 delegates there were 25% of the delegation was elected officials, and then we had corporates and academics. So it's a whole mix of people. And I had the privilege of spending time with students in Vietnam. And I've spent time with students in different parts of the world as well. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I see that fire. I see that what education does is open your mind, right? It opens your mind. It opens possibilities, right? It's a window to a better life. So to answer your question, yes, everyone benefits with education. Now, does everyone have to go to university? Now, research shows that those who have completed graduation from a university earn significantly more in a lifetime as compared to those who have not.
And when you say significantly, are we talking double? Are we talking more than double?
I think more than double.
Yeah.
More than double.
Wow.
So research shows that. Now the question is, why do people not? Why do some people have a hesitation to go to university? Again, there are different layers to that as well. One of it comes from, no one in my family went. I don't need to, or I don't deserve to. Right? There's that thinking. I cannot afford to.
Right.
Right? Or I'm no good. Now that's where I think I really love the mission of the University of Washington Tacoma, right? Where we are, the resources we have can work very well for people who are first generation, who don't have like for example, in the business school, right?
For example, me. I was a first generation student that went to that school that did not have resources, and the school helped me find a way. And that's incredibly life-changing for me.
Yeah. And so Josh, I'm glad you had a great experience, and we also found from employers that what they said was our students work very hard. They roll up the sleeves. They don't have hang-ups. They are not full of themselves. They don't have a chip on their shoulder. But they're a little rough on the edges. Right? And so that's why...
we're from Tacoma. What do you expect?
Right. But what we found was, how can we help them doing that? So we have a success center, career center, where we teach our students how to wear a tie, how not to dress before an interview, how to dress, what is appropriate dressing, how to network, how to eat with a fork and a knife.
I took those classes, and how to eat with a fork and a knife is something I think about on every date I've been at since. Truly, it changed my perception. It opened my mind to something that for years I could have been doing wrong, but after someone showed me the proper way to do it, every time someone does it wrong, it's glaring. And to be in a position for, my staff now, who maybe get to go, tomorrow we're going to a big event that's put on by a bunch of surgeons, a big fancy dinner, and I get to bring some of my staff to that event, potentially the first fancy formal dinner that they'll ever go to. And I get to say, hey, just so you know, this is how you hold the fork and the knife. Something that I might not have known if not for your course.
Absolutely. And so it's like one lamp lights another, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Recently we found that today's impressions is everything in today's time. Social media is everything, right? Especially young people, they are digital natives, right? They live in the digital world, and that has its own problems. But impression management is very important. And we found that many of our students did not have the right etiquette of social media posting, especially their profile pictures.
Oh, yeah.
So on LinkedIn, they would have profile pictures with their dog or with their girlfriend or things like that, which is all very sweet and very cute, but that's not what
LinkedIn is for.
So we bought a machine called Iris, where students, and I think I showed that to you.
You did. It's very cool.
Right. So the students sit and the machine takes the picture for you. It's professional. It's got a white background. It sends it to students, and they can use it for their posts. So we try, to support our students so that, because if you really see the vision that we have when we are saying we want to operate with world-class companies at a world-class level, move our students, get them opportunities which are really no less than any other good university or good business school. We need to work hard to soften those edges.
Yeah. I think there's a ton of value in the Iris machine, the headshots that come from being the first person to employ in a professional way. A lot of my staff, they've never taken a headshot before. Yeah. There's a ton of pressure to look nice for a headshot. When we have a photographer coming, it's one day, you got to take it, you got to kill it. And then when they see the headshots after they've been edited and everything, and they say, wow, I hate these. Can I do some more? I say, I've got to book the photo shoot all over again. I mean, I guess we can find a way to figure this out, but that's stressful for me as the employer too. If the student comes to me with headshots already, that's setting them apart in the application process. Absolutely, we pay attention to their social media and their LinkedIn. And my office manager, she recently showed me the LinkedIn of an attorney she wanted me to interview. And based on their LinkedIn picture, I said, no, thank you. And that's really all it took. She had years of experience, maybe more experience in the industry than I have. But based on her LinkedIn picture and the professional presence that she had on the internet, I said, this is not someone who fits with our culture.
Absolutely. I mean, it's packaging, right?
Right. Yeah. It means a lot. It means a lot. And so if you don't mind what your packaging looks like, then you'll find somewhere to land that doesn't mind what your packaging looks like. But I want people to put their best professional foot forward and to have the resources through their college or through my law firm to have those, have access to those things.
Absolutely.
Can you discuss the importance of involvement in community organizations?
Yeah. Because the business school is leading on so many fronts, we do a lot. So a lot is expected from us, right? And the business community expects the business school to lead. And that leadership is at different levels, and they expect me to lead within the community as well. And I'm honored and delighted to step up and to lead. So I serve on the boards of several organizations. I serve on the board of Sound Credit Union, right, which is a $3 billion credit union. I serve on the board of Museum of Glass and of the World Trade Center of the Pierce County. I see a lot of overlaps in this. Each of these organizations has a big mission. They are mission driven. They have a social mission. Sound Credit Union is for affordable finance. Museum of Glass is art. And World Trade Center is really to inculcate free trade and global trade around the world, because trade drives our economy, right?
Yes.
It drives our economy. So I try and incorporate my work in these organizations with my work as dean. So, for example, World Trade Center meetings are hosted by the business school. The CEO of Sound Credit Union is the chair of my advisory board. And for Museum of Glass, I serve as a co-chair of every year they have a breakfast at the Cone, which is an event for the business community. And I'm co-chairing this event this year with Bill Robertson, who's the CEO of Multicare. And our guest for that event is Clint Stein, the CEO of Umpqua Bank.
Wow.
So I'm trying to integrate my involvement and help out these organizations, and in many ways they help us.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they help the school and help me grow as a person, and it's an absolute delight to interact with people like Clint and with Bill and Dawn. I learn so much from them.
That's wonderful. So the community involvement helps your professional development, but it also helps to foster entrepreneurship in the community by building these connections between the school and local business.
That's right. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
It strengthens our ties. So, for me, the business community, we have a symbiotic relationship, right? So I have an advisory board called the Milgard Executive Council. Mm-hmm. We have 30 members on it, and we have people from Boeing, from Weyerhaeuser, McKinstry, Mr. Milgard is on it. So it's high-powered CEOs, CFOs, COOs, and high net worth individuals who serve on that board. And so the community does a lot for us. They inspire us, they help us with strategy, they guide us, they fund us, right? They serve as my mentors. So we get so much from them, and which in turn benefits our students.
Right.
But I also believe that there is an opportunity for us to give back, right? And so me serving on these boards, helping these organizations, in many ways gives back, right? So it's helping each other to be stronger.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please give me a call as soon as a class opens up for me to teach at Milgard, because I'll jump on that opportunity. I'm super excited to give back as well.
Thank you so much, Josh. I am so proud of you, and we'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you.